Rick Harrison of the hit reality TV show Pawn Stars is blaming the border crisis for his son's recent death. Adam Harrison, who was not part of the show, died in Las Vegas last week. Yesterday, his father revealed the cause of death for the 39-year-old as being from a fentanyl overdose. In a statement, Harrison wrote, quote, "The fentanyl crisis in this country must be taken more seriously. It seems it is just flowing over the borders and nothing is being done about it. We must do better," end quote. The crisis allows for our enemies south of the border, inside Mexican drug cartels and an ocean away in China, to make money off the mental health crisis in America, which leaves many young people vulnerable, to trying drugs in the first place. And it also kills Americans along the way, so for them, I guess, it's a win-win, while for us, it's a serious lose-lose. And yet the Supreme Court just ruled that states like Texas do not have a right to defend themselves with barriers against this targeted onslaught. In a 5-4 ruling yesterday, Chief Justice John Roberts and even Trump appointee Amy Coney Barrett sided with liberals to say that the feds can cut down the razor wire and other barriers constructed by Texas. Daniel Horowitz from The Blaze tweeted, "Amy Barrett believed that Illinois was able to lock its own people down because it had plenary police power over public health. So why can't Texas use public health power to keep out those coming from disease-ridden countries? Or does police power only apply against Americans?" It's a good question. It's been obvious for a while now that we have a regime in power actively opposed to the best interests of its own people. Conservative writer Nate Hochman explains, at a baseline level, governments are supposed to ensure basic goods: clean streets, competent police, functional airlines, secure borders. Our political system isn't just apathetic about those things, it's actively opposed to them. It's a state at war with its own nation. And most Republicans are absolutely no help on this matter, because in a world of rabid, hyper-partisan lefties, the right, like Roberts and Coney Barrett, take it as a badge of honor to twist themselves into pretzels of supposed impartiality so they can say with some sense of superiority over the rest of us, "Well, I may not agree with the results of my own decision, but I am bound by the law." Well, that's cold comfort for the rest of us. President Trump explained this strange phenomenon in New Hampshire.
If Biden or Obama, Democrat, appoint a judge, they go out of their way to hurt you. If a Republican appoints a judge like me, I appoint a judge, they go out of their way to show they're not biased and that they can't be bought, they can't be this, they can't be. You appoint somebody and they go out of their way to rule against you because they want to show that they are not in any way influenced by the fact that you appointed them. And you really do have two standards. It's an incredible difference. And hopefully the Republican justices that we have and judges that we have will make correct decisions. And what I want is just fair and correct decisions.
With that being said, Governor Greg Abbott is also reassuring Texans that the fight isn't over. He says the state will continue to use concertina wire and anti-climb barriers to repel illegal immigrants, even if the feds want to keep coming back down to tear it all down. I hope to see Abbott stand his ground on this with Texas DPS, because one of the many reasons why our nation has gotten to this point is that, one, we have moved away from being a constitutional republic and instead have become a democracy where all the voting protections against mob rule have been eroded over time. And so now the left is in a mad race to stack the deck in their favor by importing as many of their voters as is possible. And two, we have completely destroyed the idea of states' rights, made it into a dirty word even. And that has allowed the federal government to take control of literally everything down to the local level. I mean, state legislatures don't even get to send senators to Congress anymore. Did you know it hasn't always been a popular vote? That's not the way the founders intended. These two forces have accelerated the left's agenda to solidify their totalitarian control. Perhaps one of the only ways in which we can stop this is if more Americans sue the government into bankruptcy, into oblivion over its intentional failures at the border. The mother of a young woman raped and strangled to death back in 2022 in Frederick, Maryland by an MS-13 gang member who was here illegally is now suing the DHS and the HHS for $100 million. The mother says the Biden administration should have never allowed this El Salvadoran gang member to stay at a holding center when he had his gang tattoos visible, and a simple phone call would have confirmed his ineligibility to stay in the country. She compares this with the administration playing Russian roulette with the lives of American citizens. If this mother can get even just a fraction of the money she's requesting, it could set a precedent that will allow us to go on offense with lawfare to defund left-wing open border policies through these backdoor methods.